My Catholic Roots is an online formation series sponsored by the Militia Immaculata, an ecclesial movement founded by St. Maximilian Kolbe. This week's topic is entitled, What Difference Does Jesus Make to My Life? Some people think that Jesus makes no difference, that he was a political activist, a scapegoat for the ills of his society, or a conjurer of shiny miracles. However, that is limiting Jesus to a caricature rather than a real divine person who wishes to know us individually.
St. Francis and St. Clare lived in the Middle Ages, in the 1200s. And they were just amazed that when they looked at the stars and the sky and the sun and the moon, how the God who created all of this came to dwell in the small, simple enclosure of the womb of the Virgin Mary. Now, for modern people who live in this technological age, let's do a little math to figure out what does this really mean, how this God of the universe came to dwell in the womb of the Virgin Mary, and what it really means. So for a moment, put your thinking cap on, and let's do a little math. How fast is the speed of light? Well, the speed of light is 186,000 miles a second. So 186,000 miles a second is the speed of light. I remember when I was growing up, I would take my flashlight and I would shine it at the night sky, and as soon as the flashlight went on, I'd say, it went 186,000 miles in 1 second. Then in 2 seconds, how far did it go? And how far would it take to reach the moon and Mars? Well, if we do the math, you shine the flashlight at Mars, and it takes about 30 seconds actually, for that beam of light to reach Mars. Now, if we took a spaceship, it would take about 6 months. Now, astronomers tell us that the closest inhabitable planet is probably about 20 light years away. 20 light years to go from Earth to the closest star system that has a planet which might have life. Now, how long would it take if we got on a spaceship and left right now for that star system and traveled 20 light years? How long would that take us in our fastest spaceship? It would take 500,000 years for us to go in our fastest spaceship to get to that next star system. So we begin to see how big the universe is. 20 light years would take us 500,000 years in our fastest ship. But how big is the universe? The universe is 14 billion light years wide. Not 20, 14 billion light years wide is the universe. And the scientists say it's actually expanding. And just think, God created all of it. Our God is so big that his hands reach from one end of the universe to the other and beyond. So God is even bigger than these 14 billion light years. This is how big God is. And yet this God who created the heavens and the stars and the universe and the galaxies and everything came to dwell in the womb of the Virgin Mary. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind, nothing does. And not only did that God came to dwell in the small enclosure of the Virgin Mary's womb, that God also comes to us in the form of bread in the Eucharist. So the next time you go to communion, remember that this God of the universe who stretches from one end of the universe to the other beyond with his hands now comes into our hands. And this God who created all the stars and the suns and the moons and the galaxies and the planets has come to dwell in the womb of the Virgin Mary. And in the Eucharist, he now comes to dwell in our own hearts and souls. So the question is, what difference does Jesus make in my life? Well, when Jesus comes into our life, the whole universe opens up to us. The whole universe, the stars, the sun, the moon, the sky, the world, the whole universe opens up to us. All time and all eternity. Everything becomes possible. Everything we can imagine becomes possible when we let Jesus into our life.